Have you ever felt like your coding assistant was secretly plotting against you? I'm serious. Imagine this. You sit down for a quick coding session and ask your AI friend to help you implement the feature, and within minutes, you're watching magical code appear on your screen. What's even better, it runs. Pure dopamine hit. Fast forward a couple of days and suddenly your code base is an absolute nightmare that you barely understand. Sounds familiar? Well, welcome to my world of AI-assisted coding addiction, a roller coaster ride that I'm about to take you on. In this video, I'm sharing my journey from being completely blown away by AI's capabilities to feeling like I'd lost control of my own code. And finally, discovering a healthy relationship with these powerful but mischievous tools. I walk you through some painfully honest moments where I messed up, the wrong turns I took, and the valuable lessons I learned about when to use AI and when to take the wheel myself. Whether you're just starting with tools like Cursor and ChatGPT, or you've already dipped in the weeds of AI-assisted development, I think you'll find something valuable in my mistakes. My experience in one sentence? Honestly, it's like drinking decaf coffee, both worse and better than I had imagined. So a couple of months ago, I decided to dive back into coding after some time away. To say I was rusty would be a massive understatement. I was basically starting from scratch in many ways. And that's when I discovered the magic of AI-assisted IDEs, like Cursor, ChatGPT Plus with the 4.0 model. My first experience with Cursor's companion feature was, well, mind-blowing. I type a few sentences describing what I wanted to build, and boom! Working code appeared before my eyes. Not just snippets, the entire functional prototypes that actually run in the browser. It felt like having a senior developer at my fingertips, ready to build whatever I could imagine. In those early days, our relationship was completely backward. I wasn't the developer with an AI assistant. Cursor was the developer and I was just the guy with ideas, occasionally tweaking things here and there. Looking back, I have mixed feelings about this approach, but I can't deny how helpful it was when I was just getting my feet wet again, especially with technologies I had zero experience with. I remember working on this app to solve a digital asset management problem using computer vision. My Python knowledge? Non-existent. I knew modules existed, Django was a thing, and it was popular for machine learning. That's it. But I wrote down what I wanted, and within an hour after fixing a few terminal errors, I had a working prototype. That feeling was intoxicating, almost godlike. I felt like I could build anything. But as you might expect, that sensation didn't last very long. The problem started showing up when I needed to fine-tune my application. Coding Cursor doesn't exactly follow instructions to the letter. It interprets what you want, so when I asked it for UI, it decided PyQt was the way to go. Suddenly I was starting at code I barely understood, feeling more like a passenger than a driver in my own project. And then came the real pain points. My app kept crashing due to multi-threading issues. My solution? Read Stack Overflow post and then ask Claude to fix the code. Yeah, not my proudest moments. Eventually, I had to admit the harsh truth. I couldn't maintain or grow the codebase I had. It was time for a fresh start. So I did what a reasonable person would do. I asked ChatGPT about the best approach. Between Electron and Tori, I went with Electron because it sounded familiar. Once again, I knew absolutely nothing about Electron, but I confidently typed a prompt like, take my current code and migrate it to Electron with a React frontend and Express backend. In my head, that made perfect sense. Anyone who knows Electron is probably cringing right now.
This is the worst!
That's absolutely not how you build Electron apps. But did that stop me? Nope. A few more hours of AI assistant prototyping later, and finally I broke down and actually read some documentation. See, process communication, you know, the basics that probably I should have understood before diving in. I thought I was finally back in control. I was wrong. You'd think I'd learned my lesson, right? Well, that addiction to instant progress was too powerful. I found a fresh Electron React boilerplate, I cloned it, I moved the UI over manually, and then immediately handed the keys back to Claude, asking it to implement the backend with IPC. The result? Beautiful mess of complicated logic just to handle requests properly. Once again, I didn't understand large chunks of my own codebase, and the parts I did understand, I didn't like. This time though, I finally hit my breaking point. I took a deep breath and decided to re-implement entire IPC logic from scratch. I wrote the first handler myself, figured out how to receive and send update calls, handle multiple workers, and spawn a Python process for the computer vision task. And ironically, that's when I discovered the real power of AI assistants and how to use them properly. After all these false starts and problems with my codebase, I finally found the right approach to working with Cursor. It goes something like this. Hey, here's a piece of logic I wrote that already works, and here's an interface for another chunk. Implement it. Then done? Great. Now use this implementation in this file, hooking up exactly what I did here, here, and here. It's fast, convenient, and most importantly, I stay in control of foundational logic. That's a healthy use case. I design structure, the big pieces of code, and then let AI fill in the smaller gaps. Another massive advantage I discovered is the speed of iteration. Let's be honest, version 1 of anything always sucks, whether it's written 100% by human hands or artificial intelligence. It's usually impossible to get it right the first time. With AI though, creating the first version is way faster. I had an MVP of my app in just one afternoon. Then, when I realized the limitations, I rewrote the core logic in a day and a half to avoid all the issues from AI-driven approach. Through all this trial and error, I discovered my natural working rhythm. 2 or 3 days of intensive R&D and progress followed by a day of intensive refactoring, rewriting and stabilizing the approach. And I kinda love it. Seeing visible progress is motivational, but having a clean, understandable codebase is even better. Some key struggles and conclusions I want to share. First, AI assistants won't call you when you're doing something insane. If I prompt Cursor to build an Electron app with a Node.js backend jammed inside, I wish it would say, "You crazy?
Stop it. Get some help."
But it doesn't. It just tries to do it no matter how questionable the approach. Second, these tools won't challenge or suggest changes based on recurring problems outside the current context. When I was struggling with testing and couldn't figure out how to mock window Electron for unit tests, Cursor kept suggesting new code changes, promising each time it would work. After many wasted hours, I remembered, oh yeah, there is dependency injection. After that, it was trivial, but Cursor never suggested that approach, even though it would have saved me hours of frustration. Third, these tools can unintentionally overwrite your code while fixing something else. I can't count how many times Cursor's fix for a snippet would forget or overwrite the rest of my code, giving me some serious panic moments. And finally, sometimes when you ask for a single fix, these tools decide to refactor random pieces simultaneously, often introducing brand new bugs in the process. The big takeaway here is this: AI coding assistants are incredibly powerful, but they're basically just advanced pattern matchers, not rational beings with a deep understanding of your specific project needs. That's both their weakness and their strength. They do the groundwork, spin up that first version, and give you more time to think about higher level decisions. But you need to stay in charge and remember that rewriting code after things get chaotic is just part of the process. So yes, my AI assistant is mischievous, but when used properly, it's also amazing. I guess that's how partnerships go, right? You just need to remember who's in charge in any particular moment. I'm still using Cursor, I'm still rewriting my code, and I'm definitely still messing up along the way. It's a journey, but at least now it feels like it's my journey. Thanks for watching. If any of this sounds familiar or sparks ideas, I'd love to hear about your own experiences wrestling with AI dev tools in the comments. Drop a like if you've had similar struggles, and subscribe for more honest conversations about life in tech. Until next time!